What's up, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Got done reading all my books. We're going to go over them in just one moment. But as a reminder, the Comic Book Community Awards 2023 nomination period is open now. You can find links down below in the description to nominate your favorite YouTube content. So make sure you nominate your favorite channels after this video. We're going to get into it right now. I'm going to go ahead and put my grading scale up, and you know how this works. I'm going to bring a book on, and I'm going to put the cover of that book on the grading scale so you can see how they all stack up against each other. And we're going to open it up with Marvel. Right now we have Amazing Spider-Man issue number 26. Do I even need to spoil this? I think Marvel and social media pretty much ruined this for us. Death of a somewhat major character, I suppose, but we know how these things work. That character is going to be back undoubtedly very soon, and I haven't been reading the most recent stuff from Spider-Man. In fact, I can't believe it's on issue number 26. That's just blowing my mind, because I feel like I read the first maybe dozen issues, and I was just kind of over it. I'm like, nah, this is the same old crap. I can't stand it. So I wanted to touch base with this one because it's supposed to be a big landmark issue, and I read it and I was reminded of all the reasons why I don't give a crap about this series to begin with. So I can't really recommend ASM at this point. If you want a Spider book, I would recommend reading Miles Morales, because that book is actually doing some fresh stuff and some pretty cool things with some villains and whatnot. Interior artwork is just as bad, in my opinion, as it's always been. JR is on the art here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just not a fan of his current style. I love a lot of his old stuff, but his current style is just not doing it for me. The writing's okay. The bad thing about this book is, like, as I'm reading it, there are moments, there are panels in this book where I'm like, okay, I'm getting pulled in. I actually like it, but then I'm quickly reminded about how absurd it is when you see just like awful artwork. I mean, like, some of the stuff is just god awful, and so it completely pulls me out of the story. And yeah, death of a character, for now, we'll see where it goes. But thank God we have Punisher issue number 12. And I'm going to say this is the last issue in this run, although they do leave it somewhat open-ended for a continued series after this one. I think what Jason Aaron did on this run in general was absolutely brilliant. I don't have a ton of Punisher in my back catalog, and I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of his older stories. You know, I've seen the movies, I watched the Netflix show, things like that. I have touched base with some of the classic runs, and I gotta say, I had more fun reading this series than like anything I've ever seen on Punisher before. He did some amazing things inside of here. In a collected format, this is gonna be outstanding. I was gonna say, like, in a collected format, like extra size, but I mean, the art's good, but I don't think it warrants like a big giant like gallery size edition. But I will say what they did with the storytelling, weaving Maria's experience while Frank was kind of away from the family into the current narrative of what Frank's going through right now to kind of get his family back. I think it was just brilliant storytelling. I absolutely loved that so much. And there's just a lot of cool, interesting things that happen in this book. Does it rewrite his history? I don't know. It doesn't rewrite it. It adds additional context, maybe. You know, it kind of sets him up as somebody who's always been the Punisher, not just a Punisher after he went to war, or, you know, after his family was murdered in the park and things like that. Like, he was always, as a child, he had this demon inside of him that he's been cultivating over the years, and he got progressively more detached from his family, from humanity. And then it just took like that one bad day to really give him the push that he needed to really fulfill his destiny in a way. So they explore that inside of here. Cool ancillary characters in here as well. We get some Avengers in here. Really interesting stuff. I did not see the ending coming, for sure. The ending is very interesting, and it sets up a lot of cool things for the story, a lot of cool places the story can go from here. I don't want to show you too many of the interior artwork because I don't want to give it away. If you have not read Punisher yet this run, highly recommended. For sure, check this one out. Detective Comics number 1072 from Ram V. Absolutely amazing issue again right here. If you like real poetic, moody, atmospheric comics, this one is for you for sure. You can almost hear the Dark Knight orchestra when you read this book because of the atmosphere that they're painting in here. The art is absolutely moody and incredible. The coloring is bright and vibrant and dark all at the same time. They're setting up this big Gotham City takeover right now with this extremely old, legendary, superpowered family, and Bruce and the Bat family are trying to uncover the truth and trying to stop this chaos from happening. Absolutely gorgeous. It does have like this Hush vibe to it, I feel like, or it has this Jim Lee vibe to it, and I'm loving it so much. Very cool. Again, I love a comic when I'm reading it. I can like make my own orchestra music in the background, and it puts me in that mood. It puts me in the scene, and I can like feel the story breathing It's just amazing. Very, very cool. Check this one out. All right, guys, I went ahead and picked it up. We got Power Girl Special issue number 1. Cover grab for sure, but is the story any good? I was a little bit hesitant going into this. I heard it wasn't that great, and so I went ahead and just tried it out myself. The interior art should have been a clue right away. I initially liked it when I was flipping through the shop, but as I was reading the book, I'm like, nah, it's not really my style. I'm not liking what's going on, and the story was kind of bland as well. A lot of action, a lot of stuff going on, but it was just a giant pity fest, honestly. She's walking around kind of, reinforcing the fact that like nobody likes her. She's kind of a burden on everybody. What is she doing here? Maybe everyone's better off without her. Things like that. Is she being manipulated by a reality warper in general? Yes, for sure. And are there cool moments? Yeah, there's some cool moments in here. But at the end of the day, it's like a big hug fest, and then everyone just kind of, forgives everybody and everybody moves on, and everything's just kind of generic and boring. So like cover grab all day. Story, not so great. Going over to Vault Comics, we have Barbaric issue number 4, Hell to Pay. If you just need a good book to sit in between books that are just kind of bumming you out, man, Barbaric is definitely the book for you. If you like over-the-top, violent action, gore, barbarians cutting things in half, cursing, really cool superpowers, demons, devils, backstabbing, all this kind of stuff, man, this is definitely the book for you. So you gotta be checking this one out. This is a really good palate cleanser after I read something that's really awful. And so this book was definitely needed this week because there wasn't a whole lot of just like amazing books. There's a couple fluff books for sure, but Barbaric, man, you got to be checking this one out. It is awesome and truly lives up to its name. All right, going over to IDW, we have a new Saturday Morning Adventures TMNT issue number 1. I've been getting into this turtle stuff a lot more as of late, trying to collect a lot of the comics. We had a new series coming out, so I'm jumping on board with this one. Now we have the Rat King in here. He actually gets enhanced by some TCRI ooze right here, and he develops a new power. I won't exactly go into what that new power is, but it's a very interesting power for him to have, and he uses it to his full advantage for sure, kind of getting the turtles into some trouble as he always does. We get a Shredder appearance in here. We have some April, we have some Splinter, of course that cartoon style, very reminiscent obviously of the animated series. So if you're into that, you're definitely gonna like this issue right here. And I'm digging these. Again, if you like a little bit of a palate cleanser, wanna have a little bit of a nostalgia hit, a little dopamine nostalgia hit, check out Saturday Morning Adventures. Then we have Sealy and Fleece on Local Man issue number 4. And this is a great series so far. If you're into 90s style team-ups, hero team-ups, this is basically that, but we have a member of the team who did something to the leader, essentially. He kind of had an affair in a way, and we learn a lot about that inside of this issue here, which would kind of blew my mind, honestly, at the end. He was somewhat disgraced. He was kicked out of the team. He had to go back home to his hometown, and then, of course, everyone's making fun of him. He's kind of a disgrace. His own parents have issues with him being around. All the locals are pissed off at him, things like that. But he can't get rid of his superhero roots, and he falls into this big conspiracy. There's some murders, things like that, and someone's messing with some pretty powerful artifacts out there locally in town. And this is just a really cool, like half detective, half superhero book. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I think you're going to really enjoy Local Man. And then, of course, what's really cool about this is we get our regular comic, format on the one side, but then on the back side, on the flip side, you actually get like the 90s style image comic as well, which gives you more context about the history of this like betrayal on this team. And so it was extremely moody. I did not see this one coming. It looks like any other 90s comic that you may have read before, but like the story is very, very shocking. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening. So Local Man, very cool book. I really recommend this series. Check it out. All right, last book we read this week was World Tree issue number 2 from James Tynion. Pretty highly anticipated book, I would say. Issue number 1 at least sold a lot of copies because it had a lot of variant covers to go along with it. But this book is very interesting. It's a kind of a combination of a lot of different premises out there. And so it has a little bit of like It in it, and then it has a lot of Matrix in it, and it has like some kind of murder thing in it, right? So there's a lot of interesting things going on. It's very dark, very moody, a lot of characters, things like that. So it feels like a Tynion book. Like if you didn't know Tynion wrote this, you would know by the end of this book. Will it keep our interest going forward? I don't know. There's still a whole lot of mystery in this. We don't exactly know how the World Tree or Undernet manipulates these people by looking at screens. It's kind of almost like a deceased kind of a thing. Like if you look at the technology, it turns you into a zombie. Has that kind of effect on here. It kind of puts you into a trance and sometimes into a murderous state. There's a lot of 12 panel grids and stuff like that, and a very, very dark atmosphere. So it kind of gets you into that mood. So if you have the shades down, you have the lights out, things like that, you're going to fall right into this story, I think, for sure. Then again, it has just like a lot of people sitting around talking, just kind of, you know, describing how weird they are. And so you got a lot of that as well. So again, it feels like a Tynan book. If you like that vibe, that feel, if you read Nice House on the Lake and you enjoyed a lot of the dialogue between the people and, you know, a little bit less about the story, I think you're going to love this book. This book was a little bit less interesting than issue number 1, I would say, because it didn't have a whole lot of action in it, but still interested in the story. We'll see if the hype train can keep going. What do you guys think? So guys, that's everything I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below in the comments what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. And while you're down there, hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, consider hitting that subscribe button and check out the join button as well. But as always, I appreciate you watching the video. Make sure to go down below in the description and check out the Comic Book Community Awards 2023 nomination form down there. But as always, happy reading. I'll see you all down below in the comments.